Every man thinks he understands attraction until he realizes how much of it isn't logical at all. Beneath every connection lies an instinct older than reason, a hidden psychology that shapes desire and behavior without permission. This isn't about blame or judgment. It's about truth. And truth, especially when it involves power between men and women, is rarely comfortable. The secret most never acknowledge is that attraction is not built on fairness. It's built on perception, emotion, and the illusion of control. Before we continue, ask yourself this: have you ever felt that no matter how kind, consistent, or genuine you were, she still lost interest? That discomfort you feel right now, that frustration, is exactly where real understanding begins. It's not that women are manipulative or cruel. It's that human desire responds to tension, not comfort, to curiosity, not certainty. The darker truth is that attraction often fades when safety replaces excitement. This video isn't about resentment. It's about awareness. Once you understand what truly drives emotion, you stop being reactive and start becoming observant. You learn how to move differently, speak differently, and stop chasing what cannot be forced. What you'll discover here isn't meant to flatter you. It's meant to wake you up. Because the most dangerous thing a man can do is assume he understands a dynamic he's never really studied. Welcome to the shadow of desire. There's a dangerous lie most men are taught, that if you make a woman feel safe, loved, and secure, her attraction will grow endlessly. In truth, safety creates stability, not desire. While comfort is necessary for emotional connection, it is tension that fuels attraction. Machiavelli understood that people lose interest not in the absence of love, but in the absence of emotional risk. When everything is predictable, when every move is known, the mind stops searching, and desire fades with it. Think of comfort like gravity. It keeps you grounded, but also keeps you from flying. When a relationship becomes too comfortable, it stops evolving. A woman stops feeling drawn and starts feeling settled. This isn't about cruelty or withholding affection, it's about balance. The moment she feels there's nothing left to learn about you, her curiosity dies. The mind is built to chase novelty, and attraction is no exception. The key is not to remove safety, but to pair it with depth and unpredictability. Take this example: a man who constantly reassures his partner, who never disagrees, never challenges, never surprises her. He may think he's building loyalty, but in truth, he's numbing the dynamic. She feels emotionally full, but not moved. Now compare that with a man who occasionally withdraws, who maintains his individuality, who expresses affection without surrendering his edge. That duality, stability with mystery, creates the emotional voltage that keeps attraction alive. Machiavelli would call this controlling comfort, the ability to offer warmth without dependence and connection without losing power. The most magnetic men don't remove a woman's comfort, they redefine it. They make her feel safe in the unknown. She learns to trust the unpredictability of his presence because it feels alive, not mechanical. The comfort trap destroys passion, but the man who balances familiarity with emotional depth never becomes routine, he becomes addictive. Machiavelli understood one of the darkest truths about human nature. Emotion will always overpower logic. When it comes to attraction, this truth is absolute. No amount of reasoning, convincing, or explaining can replace the visceral pull of emotional tension. It's the difference between being understood and being felt. A woman may respect the man who makes sense, but she will desire the man who makes her feel something. That feeling isn't about chaos or manipulation. It's about unpredictability, intensity, and depth. Emotional tension exists in contrast. When you're confident yet reserved, warm yet distant, direct yet composed, you create a kind of polarity that keeps her alert. The human mind craves resolution, but attraction thrives in uncertainty. The moment a man becomes too predictable, the mind relaxes and desire fades. Think of a song that builds tension before resolving its melody. If it resolved instantly, it would lose its emotional power. Relationships work the same way. Mystery sustains interest while overexposure kills it. Take an example from everyday life. Imagine two men, one constantly texting, explaining himself, seeking reassurance, the other calm, patient, and comfortable with silence. The first satisfies logic but drains emotion. The second stirs curiosity because he doesn't fill every gap. He lets anticipation do the work. The emotional distance becomes a kind of magnetism. She starts to wonder. That wondering is where the connection deepens, not in endless reassurance but in subtle unpredictability. Machiavelli would say the one who controls emotion controls the game. But this control isn't about manipulation. It's about mastery of your own presence. Emotional tension only works when it's anchored in self-control. You must feel deeply yet act deliberately. A man who knows how to evoke feeling without being consumed by it becomes unforgettable. In that balance, between passion and restraint, intensity and calm, lies the power that logic can never touch. Every connection between men and women operates on two levels: the surface of words and actions and the deeper current of psychology running underneath. Most men focus on the surface, assuming that attraction is earned through logic, kindness, or consistency. But the truth, as Machiavellian thinkers like Niccolo himself understood, is that human behavior, especially desire, is rarely rational. A woman's attraction is not a checklist. It's a reaction, a response to emotional energy, confidence, and how a man makes her feel, not just what he does. At the core of female psychology lies contrast, the dynamic between strength and warmth, unpredictability and safety. A woman feels drawn to what she can't fully define. That's why a man who is calm yet slightly distant creates more fascination than the one who is endlessly available. The emotional brain doesn't crave perfection, it craves stimulation. When something or someone can't be fully categorized, the mind keeps returning to it, searching for understanding. Machiavelli would call this the allure of uncertainty, the very thing that keeps people invested in power and emotion alike. Think of it this way. When a man tries too hard to be understood, he becomes predictable. When he tries to prove his worth, he gives away his leverage. But when he holds his ground, listens more than he speaks, and acts with quiet intent, he becomes an emotional puzzle. That puzzle activates curiosity, and curiosity feeds desire. A woman may not even realize why she's drawn to such a man. It's not what he's saying, it's what he's not saying. His restraint signals control, and control reads as strength. The uncomfortable truth is this: attraction is not a moral equation. It's a psychological one. You can't negotiate desire, and you can't logic someone into wanting you. But by understanding how emotion works, by mastering presence, tone, silence, and timing, you learn how to trigger instinct rather than chase approval. Machiavelli knew that power belongs to those who read emotion without being ruled by it, and in relationships that same rule applies. Those who remain mysterious, composed, and self-contained hold the frame that others naturally follow. In every relationship there comes a silent turning point, the moment when the balance of power shifts. Machiavelli would call this the point where emotional control changes hands. It doesn't happen through words or confrontation, it happens through attention. The one who invests more energy, who seeks reassurance, who explains more, slowly gives away dominance. When a woman feels she has fully figured you out, she unconsciously begins to lead the rhythm of the interaction. You start reacting instead of creating. The frame is no longer yours. It's hers. The shift often begins subtly. She tests you, not maliciously but instinctively, to measure your emotional strength. If you overreact, over-explain, or chase, she learns that you can be moved. The moment she sees that, your energy becomes predictable, and her curiosity fades. Machiavelli warned rulers never to let others see what rattles them. The same rule applies to attraction. The one who shows restraint under pressure becomes the anchor, the emotional constant others unconsciously orbit. Consider a simple example, a disagreement or argument. Most men try to fix the situation immediately, to make things right. But in doing so, they communicate anxiety, not leadership. The man who stays calm, who doesn't rush to defend or apologize, communicates power through patience. He's not playing games, he's showing that his emotions are his own. This is the subtle difference between being responsive and being reactive. One earns respect, the other loses it. To regain or maintain control, you must lead with presence, not persuasion. Influence doesn't come from dominance, it comes from emotional steadiness. When a woman realizes she can't easily pull you off center, her respect and often her attraction intensifies. Machiavelli's lesson holds true here. The person who sets the emotional tone rules the dynamic. Don't fight for control, embody it. When your actions reflect calm authority, the game stops being hers. It becomes yours again. Machiavelli taught that perception is a weapon, and that the strongest leaders or lovers are those who can see everything without letting it break their composure. This principle applies perfectly to modern relationships. Most people lose control not because they lack understanding, but because they overreact to what they see. When you can observe someone's behavior, their moods, tests, and shifts in attention, without immediately responding, you move from the emotional level to the strategic one. You stop being a participant in the game and become the one who understands its rules. Seeing without reacting doesn't mean being cold, it means being conscious. A woman may pull away, act distant, or challenge your confidence, not out of cruelty, but to measure your stability. Most men panic in these moments. They start questioning themselves, explaining too much, or chasing validation. But the man who observes quietly, who recognizes the test for what it is, passes it simply by not engaging emotionally. His restraint communicates strength louder than words ever could. Imagine this. She withdraws for a few days, expecting you to chase. Instead, you stay composed, focused on your life. You don't ignore her out of spite. You simply don't need to react. When she returns, she senses something powerful, that your peace doesn't depend on her attention. That kind of control is magnetic because it shows emotional independence. Machiavelli would describe it as the art of not revealing the wound. The person who can remain still in chaos always holds the advantage. The path to control begins with discipline, of words, of emotion, of energy. When you stop needing to be understood or validated, you gain freedom. You see others clearly yet remain unmoved. This doesn't make you detached, it makes you deliberate. You speak less but mean more. You feel deeply but reveal selectively. In that balance lies mastery. Machiavelli's timeless truth remains. Power belongs not to the loud or the aggressive, but to the one who can look into the storm, smile slightly, and stay still. The truths revealed here aren't comfortable, and they're not meant to be. Machiavelli's insights into power and psychology were never about games. They were about awareness. Once you begin to see human behavior for what it is, not what you wish it to be, you gain freedom. You stop begging for attention and start commanding it by the way you carry yourself. Control doesn't come from force. It comes from stillness. Desire doesn't grow from perfection. It grows from tension, presence, and restraint. The moment you learn to stay calm while others react, You move from being influenced to being the influencer. Most people spend their lives chasing approval, trying to decode attraction by doing more, saying more, proving more. But Machiavelli would tell you this: power is rarely taken. It's surrendered by those who can't master themselves. When you understand emotion, timing, and silence, you don't need tricks. You become the tension others feel. You turn awareness into magnetism, and that's when control stops being effort. It becomes identity. If this message challenged your perception, write the shadow of desire in the comments. Let it remind you that influence doesn't start in what you do. It starts in how you see. The one who observes clearly, acts slowly, and feels deeply without showing weakness will always remain one step ahead in the hidden game of attraction and power.